Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery.
Hey everybody, Jersey Ed here from Friends in Recovery, and I want to welcome everybody to our show. We have a great show today. I'm going to talk about a topic that I was living in for a while in early recovery. It's called the Rearview Mirror syndrome. I'm going to talk about the rearview mirror versus the windshield today. Yes, it's only me today, and I'm going to give you guys all good stories and topics and everything about the rearview mirror. But before we do that, I want to announce the winners of our Yeti Friends in Recovery mugs. All last month in June, we were talking about the Friends in Recovery mugs, the Yeti Friends in Recovery mugs, and everybody's been sending in their clean dates and their sober dates. And I came up with two. We picked two out of a hat. Our first winner was Monty W. from Georgia. He's with the Cowlett County Veterans Court Recovery Group. And thank you for your service down there, Monty. We really appreciate it. So you get a mug from Friends in Recovery. And Matt P., his clean date is 12/4/04. Congratulations on your clean date, Matt. And you also get a mug from Friends in Recovery podcast. So we'll be contacting you guys by email, and look for that email. So congratulations on that. Also, we have our Roar trip coming up. Recovery on a Raft. It's just to support recovery. There's four of us doing it: Ronnie, John, Doug, and myself. We're taking a 72-mile kayak trip down the Delaware River. It's going to consist of 6 days and 5 nights, living out of a kayak. If you listened to last week's show, I described exactly what we were going to be doing. So tune back into that show. It's called Roar, Recovery on a Raft. And the four of us are supporting recovery. We're going to go out and do something different about recovery. I'll have live Facebook updates every morning for you guys. So if you want to hear how we're doing and how our journey was the day before and what we're doing, please join us on Facebook and Friends in Recovery Adventures. Like and subscribe there, and also Friends in Recovery communities on Facebook, and also Instagram. You can get us on also. But I'll be doing live updates on the Friends in Recovery Facebook pages. So look for those from July 10th to the July 15th live updates. So I want to talk about the rearview mirror versus the windshield, guys. A lot of us live in the rearview mirror. I know I did early recovery. I know I did in when I was using and drinking. You know, I was always looking back, especially when I had a pocket full of drugs. Literally, I was looking in the rearview mirror if I was drunk and driving. I was looking in the rearview mirror. But guys, there's a reason why that rearview mirror is tiny and the windshield up front is big, right? Okay, think about this. If we're looking in the rearview mirror, we're looking back on our life. We're looking back on our mistakes. We're looking back on what we did. And if you're looking in the windshield, we're looking where we're going. We're looking at the beauty, the nature, everything where we can be headed to. And a lot of us get stuck in that rearview mirror. I remember in early recovery, when about a first year into it, I think I told this story on the podcast in the past, but I would go into my home group, which was in South River, New Jersey. It's called Fog Lifters, 7:30 on Tuesday nights. I still remember vividly my home group, and we had 3 meetings there. There was a speaker meeting every Tuesday night in the big gym and auditorium. And yes, guys, this is when there was smoking allowed at meetings. I was the ashtray guy. I hate ashtrays. I hate smoke. I hate cigarettes. But I do smoke cigars. It's a little different. But so I was the ashtray guy. Yeah, I picked up the ashtrays at the meeting. So there was that meeting. There was a step meeting, and there was a beginners meeting. Now that was back in 1994 when I got sober. So of course I gravitated to the beginners meetings. So at the beginners meetings, everybody would talk about, what's going on, what they're doing, how they're feeling, the whole 9 yards, the typical beginners meeting. So I'd raise my hand every time, or we go around the group, or what, I can't remember how it was a long time ago. But I would always say, I want my wife back. I want my kids back. I want that all back. I want to be normal again. I want to, I have this life again. And I was always looking in a rearview mirror, always looking at, I want that life back. I want that back. I want that back. So as time went on, about a year into it, one of the old timers who would chair the meeting, finally said to me, Ed, shut the fuck up. You're not getting your wife back. You're not getting that life back. If you do get it back, you're going to get things you really don't want. You're going to get things that you really don't need. You're going to get things that are going to bring you back to your drinking. And he was right. He was 100% right, because I was looking in the rearview mirror, and I'll be honest with you. A year before that, um, I was put into a hospital in a detox, and I got out of the hospital in about 3 days. And I told the therapist, as long as I get my wife and my kids back, everything will be fine. And I got them back, and I relapsed immediately. I mean, immediately. My wife picked me up from my ex-wife picked me up from the hospital. We drove down from Boonton, New Jersey to Sayreville, New Jersey. If anybody's familiar with those two towns, I grew up in a little town called Sayreville, New Jersey. And I convinced my wife at the time to take me to a bar that my dad was at, and I convinced her that I can have those little beers. I just can't have the big ones. I can have a little one with dad. So I did, and I was off to the races again. And a year later, I'm back in the same hospital, St. Clair's detox, and wishing to get my life back. I want that life back. And again, looking in the rear view mirror. Now, I wasn't looking forward. I was looking in the rear. I was stuck. Looking in that rear view mirror, because that was safety. That was what I knew. My sponsor always said, it's better to dance with the devil that you know than the devil that you don't know. That's somewhat true, but if you take that chance, and you kind of move on, and you look through your windshield, you're going to go places that you can't imagine. You're going to go places that are just waiting out there for you, waiting for you to take on, things that you wouldn't believe in recovery. So early recovery, I thought all I wanted was my wife back, and um, that old timer really convinced me that's not what I needed. So I was still looking in the rearview mirror, and once in a while I do it now. I think it's what is it? One of the promises, we don't want to shut we don't want to shut the door to our past. That's true. We don't want to shut that door to our past. We want to learn from our past. We want to learn from our mistakes, but we don't want to live in the past. A lot of us, and I know, including me, I would stare up that rear view mirror, and I would just kind of look into it and wish I had my past back, wish I had this back, wish I had that back, wish I did this, wish I did that. And it's not good. That's not good, because I'm missing everything that's in front of me. I'm missing my children growing up. I'm missing whatever it is. But I decided, after that gentleman told me shut the fuck up at that meeting, I decided not to look in the rearview mirror so much. I still did it, but like I always say, guys, it's the time that we do in between. Let's get those gaps longer and longer in between than when we do it. Let's have the time looking in the rearview mirror shorter. Okay. If we are going to look in the rearview mirror, let's look in the past, and let's see how far we've come, see how far we grew in recovery. That's how I look in the rearview mirror now. I do keep that rearview mirror up, and I do look at it every once in a while. And do I live back there once in a while? Yeah, absolutely. I do. But I don't spend time there anymore. I get out of my shit, and I move in. I move on. I look forward, And that's what life is about. When you're looking forward and you're looking at all the beautiful stuff in your life, all the growth that you can have, places you can go, it just nonstop. Like this recovery on a raft trip. If I'm looking in the past and saying, "Oh well, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if I should take a chance. 72 miles on the Delaware. Oh, I've never done it before." If I'm looking in my rearview mirror, that's not my past, right? That's not my past. I don't have that in my past. That's in my future. I'm going to be doing that now. If I took the easier, softer way, if I tiptoed through life to make it safely to death, and I always say this on here all the time, it's not the way to do it. It's not the way to go. And again, I'm not saying take huge chances, but take chances. Chances are, and change. Change is inevitable for us in life, in recovery. Us alcoholics and addicts hate change, guys. We hate it. We hate it with a passion. It's tough. It's work. We like staying status quo. We like staying right here in the now, and that doesn't get us anywhere. Looking in that rearview mirror definitely doesn't get us anywhere. So, do I look in the rearview mirror once in a while? Yeah, like I said, yes, absolutely. But you know what? Now I'm looking in the rearview mirror to learn from my mistakes, not to shut the door on my past, right? Not to shut the door on my past, but also not to live in my past. Like future tripping. We talk about future tripping on here a lot. There's also living in your past. Jethro Tull wrote a song called "Living in the Past," and it's actually a whole album. I'm a Jethro Tull fan, but and living in the past isn't good either, because we can't grow for living in the past if we want to recreate some of that old things that we had. And I never want to recreate what I had in my using days. I remember saying that I want to get my old life back. And thank God I don't have my old life back, guys, because I wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't be giving out cups for Friends in Recovery. I wouldn't even know what Friends in Recovery is. Friends in Recovery is just an amazing community that myself, my wife, and people at Genesis House started because of different thinking, because of really because of the pandemic, because we weren't looking in the rearview mirror. We weren't trying to figure out how to do the same thing. We were looking in our windshield. We were figuring out how to do different things, and Friends in Recovery was born. And of course, the Podfather and myself started Friends in Recovery podcast, but the community was born. The adventures were born. Everything was born as far as Friends in Recovery, the next step. And there's more to come for Friends in Recovery. We'll have a website together soon. We're going to get like a special section where you can kind of subscribe to us and get a lot more content, a lot more recovery. That's what the plan for Friends in Recovery is going to be. That's all in the works right now. I know I've spoken about it in the past, but there's a lot to this, and that we have to put together. And Friends in Recovery Adventures, again, if we lived in the past, it wouldn't be here, and this Friends in Recovery Adventures came out of the Roar came out of Friends in Recovery came out of this Roar trip. I was like, all right, well, if we can do this Roar trip, which we were supposed to do last year, COVID hit. Me and Chris Cudahy were supposed to do it. It was supposed to be a 100-mile kayak trip. And mind you guys, I have never spent an hour on a kayak when I decided to do that trip. I did do a trip down to Delaware a couple weekends ago. And I probably have about 15 hours in a kayak overall, but I've never spent any amount of time on a kayak. So I'm new to all this stuff, but it's about taking a chance. It's about looking forward. It's about moving forward. It's about change. It's about sitting in a fucking kayak for 6 days, doing something differently, living out of a kayak. Everything's going to be my kayak, guys. This is change for me. This is change. And I'm excited about doing it. I'm excited about changing all the time. I'm excited about changing everything. Change, keep changing. The world changes. There's only one thing that's constant, and it is change. And if we don't change with the times, if we don't keep going and growing and moving and getting out of our skin and growing into a new skin, we get left behind. And that includes recovery. if I'm not calling my sponsor every day, if I'm not working the steps, I don't work the steps just once and I'm done. Your life changes. There's things that we change in our lives all the time that we have to kind of go through our steps again, and by looking in the rearview mirror and wishing we had that life back, it's not good. The other thing, guys, when we look in the rearview mirror, we're not that person anymore that we used to be. We're not that person who might have stole, who might have cheated, who might have robbed, who might have been dishonest. That's not us anymore. And that's, if we look in that rearview mirror, we think that's who we are. We're not, man. We changed a lot of shit in our lives. We did a lot of different things in our lives. And we're not that person just because for a time we did something that maybe wasn't the best for us. But what's going on now in your life? You're working the steps, you're helping other people. I know I help people daily. I'm not that person at all. I'm not that person ever. I don't ever want to be that person again, and I have to keep my eye on the windshield so I don't become that person again. I have to keep looking and growing, calling my sponsor. I have to keep doing everything that the steps told me, everything that is suggested to me within reason, of course, from the program. But I have to take those suggestions because I know up here, this brain, like Dennis Berry, the funky brain here, doesn't work well. When I'm in my own head, that's when it's a problem. When I'm thinking of my own thoughts and I'm not running it by somebody, being my wife or my sponsor, somebody in a program, anybody, my coach, my therapist. I don't need to make thoughts and decisions in this head by myself. It's a dangerous place, especially in recovery, especially with my alcoholic mind and my addict mind. So that's it, guys. Rearview mirror versus windshield. I repeat, do not fucking live in the rearview mirror anymore. If you want to grow and if you want to expand your life, if you want to grow that business, if you want to start a company, if you want to lose weight, if you want to, whatever it is, you can't look in the rearview mirror. You got to think differently. Change your thought, change your world, guys. That's how you do it. And that's what the program teaches us. That's what AA, NA, a 12-step teaches us, is that we just have to change our thoughts so our world changes. And when our world changes, everybody else's world around us changes. And it makes a huge difference in our immediate circle and the outside circles of life, because we're not an asshole anymore. Well, I'm not an asshole anymore. I get to be an asshole. I play an asshole once in a while, but not always. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. And again, let's congratulate Monty W from Georgia and Matt P. Matt didn't tell me where he was from, but he said he stops by in Cape May every once in a while. So maybe he's from Jersey, Pennsylvania. I don't know. But congratulations, guys. And you will be contacted by email. And this month, I'm not sure what the giveaway is. I'm going to figure something out. But we'll announce it at next show. The other thing, the 4th of July just passed. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. Remember, if you're struggling or something happened over the 4th of July weekend, reach out. Call me. Our phone number or our email address is help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. That's help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. Reach out to me, or also send us an email for the shout outs, sober shout outs. Keep sending those sober shout outs, guys, because this is how the contests are going to be done. This is how we're going to do everything. So sober shout outs, help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. And I will have a new giveaway next week. So that's it for now. Stay sober and have a great day, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.